Hello, everybody, and welcome to Believe, where we look to inspire, influence, and impact. My name is Cortland Jones, author, educator, and entrepreneur. And today I'm excited. I am here to talk with my colleague and my friend, Alicia Taylor Styles. Welcome to our show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Today we are talking about Believe, a lifestyle of fulfillment. What and how Believe does to help you feel fulfilled when you are living your life. So stay with us. On the other side of the break, we're going to hear how belief is working in Alicia's life, and through what we learn about her, how that can apply to you.
It is key that you mind your mental health.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing this week?
Hi.
Use the 5 keys to mental
Well, this week
movement.
has been a really monumental week for me. I realized that I was not being myself.
Reaching out.
Be positive attitude person self, like you guys know me to be. I was
Staying
listening to
upbeat.
teaching and get back to that happy, cherry self you guys of me.
This week's been kind of
Being
stressful
creative.
with all of the workload that we have on online learning. So I've been trying to use different platforms and different websites to help ease my mind and ease my stress.
And what about you, Marjorie?
Well, you guys know me. I just love to work with others and serve them.
Serving others.
Is that when I serve others, my mind is off of myself.
That's right. And don't forget, self-care is key.
Self-care.
All right. So see you guys next week.
Right.
Bye.
Your mind matters.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and thank you again for joining me. My name is Cortland Jones, author, educator, and entrepreneur. This is Believe, where we look to inspire, influence, and impact. And my guest today, a special guest, is my friend and colleague, Alicia Taylor Styles. Again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And as we do with every guest that we have on the show, my first question to you is, when you hear the word believe, what comes to your mind?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is the word necessity. And I think that because it doesn't matter if you're coming from a religious background or just the standard, I have to believe in myself. I need to believe that I can, if I just practice one more time, I'm going to get better. And so in my life personally, just the ebb and flow of life, having something to believe in, whether it's a higher power, whether it's myself, whether it's the beauty of humanity, it has been a necessity for my growth and for me to always push forward. Because without it, it's almost like, well, then what's the point? If I don't believe that things will get better or that I can be successful in this avenue or that I should try something new because it will benefit me, then what is it that I'm really doing? So I think of, I just feel like it's a necessity. No matter what your belief is, we all have to believe in something.
No, I love that because I see it as a necessity. I see belief as a congruence, not something separate. Even if you're a Christian, having a belief system,
Right.
belief in self
Right.
is what helps propel us. I love the word necessity because then that suggests that it's needed.
Yes.
And I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Because you can't achieve or succeed on a level that even you desire without belief.
Totally.
So, how does belief then play out for you as an artist and an entrepreneur? So, I introduce you as Alicia Taylor Styles, but Alicia is also, ladies and gentlemen, she's an educator because we work together, but she's an artist and an entrepreneur. So, as an artist and an entrepreneur, how does belief play out for you?
Really becoming an artist was something I just kind of stumbled upon because someone believed in me. Not that I necessarily believed in myself, but someone saw something in me that I never saw. So before that moment, I was just kind of floating around trying to figure out what was going to happen. And really, I was kind of losing my faith in myself. And so the belief that this individual had in me propelled me to places that I never even imagined. And so I held on to what they saw in me, even though I didn't fully see it. And I'm like, okay, well, let me test this out because I believe you. I'm going to trust in what you're saying. I'm not really seeing, the other things working out for me. So let's just see where it goes. And it has changed my life. Shout out to Kamiko for that. It has literally changed the trajectory of my life. And with that, I have now found out that I'm an artist. I never even thought that I had any type of artistic skills. And with being an artist, it led me into becoming an educator. So that belief in me, even though I didn't see it in myself, it just skyrocketed. And so that's why I feel like belief it's a necessity, regardless if you believe in yourself or not. Believing in someone else. I think about us with our students. Sometimes they don't feel like that they can be successful in it, but we know it, we believe it, and we try to push that onto them, and we try to plant that seed. And so when it comes to my artwork, I have to believe that, I'm creating this for a reason. I have this talent for a reason, and so I'm just going to do it. Even if I don't know why I'm doing it, it's happening for a reason, so I'm going to move forward with it.
So did becoming an artist come first and then being an entrepreneur?
It was actually the same time. So okay. I started with jewelry making.
Okay.
And I was like, a couple of people saw my stuff and they're like, I would like to buy it. So it really kind of just happened really at the same exact time. And then I changed my major into visual arts at Bowie State. Okay. And that was it. Yeah. It was amazing how it played out.
So talk to us then about what you do. So as an artist and an entrepreneur, for those who are curious and wanting to get to know a little bit more about you, what are you doing as an artist and an entrepreneur? Tell us about your business.
So my business is called Liberated Art, and I create one-of-a-kind wearable art. I create illustrations and paintings that represent us. It came from me seeing that there was a hole in the market. Now we are definitely seeing this, and I love it, this celebration of hair and black and brown skin and just our colorful just beings. And but before I didn't see that as much. And so I felt like that I needed to fill that void, especially as I was going through my own journey of discovering what does it mean to be a Black woman in America. And so now I create illustrations that look like my family members, that look like my mother, my nieces and nephews, and I create jewelry that I feel like reflects our energy as a culture and as a people. And yeah, please check me out, Liberated Art.
You're wearing some of that.
Yes, I am. I'm wearing polymer clay earrings made with copper. So that is part of my clay and copper line. And even with that, like the clay and copper, I thought about my grandmother and her beautiful brown skin. And so I was like, I have to just celebrate that because in her generation that wasn't celebrated. And so the copper to me symbolizes her skin, my mother's skin, my great-grandmother, all of them. Yeah.
No, I love that. And so that's one of the things I learned about her, because we talked about how you could combine what you do in your business with what you do at work as an educator. And through my interaction with Alicia, we actually had the privilege of learning more, I did anyway, about the Harlem Renaissance.
Yes.
So talk to us for a minute, because it was inspiring to me. It actually opened doors for us to do that. But talk to us from your perspective of what the Harlem Renaissance means to you.
Oh my goodness. The Harlem Renaissance, heaven sent. When you really just think about the audacity of Black people at that time to say, no, you know what? I'm going to let you know that we are talented. Yeah. We're educated. We're artists. We're writers. We're musicians. And so they created it was just a hub of just art and celebration of the self. And so when I started learning about the Harlem Renaissance, I was really inspired by it because a lot of my artwork, I wanted to celebrate the things that I was picked on about as a child. Oh, your hair is nappy, your lips are big, your nose, so to me, that was my own mini Harlem Renaissance. It was my own way of protesting against the cultural norms that has been set up here. And so I'm like, no. no, you're not going to tell me that this doesn't make sense or that it looks ugly. No, we're going to go ahead and shine light on that. And so I also do that with my students who actually just finished a project inspired by Aaron Douglas. And I told them, this is your opportunity. You have the soapbox. What would you say? If you had the audience of all the adults in the world, what would be your platform? What would you say to them? So,
like that.
and it makes, I feel like doing it through art, it helps some students feel a little bit more comfortable because they don't necessarily have to verbalize it. Especially for our English learners and everything like that, art is universal. So, shout out to the Harlem Renaissance. It's amazing. Everyone should look it up if you don't know about the Harlem Renaissance.
So you mentioned using Aaron Douglas as an inspiration for your students. Do you have an artist or a theme like family or love? Who or what inspires Alicia as an artist and as an entrepreneur?
My nieces and nephews. Ooh, let me not get emotional. So I have 13 nieces and nephews. And when I was thinking about my own, who am I as a Black woman in America, then I thought about who are they? And I have a lot of nephews. It's probably like 8 or so nephews. And so I had to think about them. Who are they as Black men? And when I think about young children and what they're exposed to, what you see in the books, I'm like, oh, I'm not really seeing at that time a lot of Black and brown illustrations of kids with their high top fade or with their locks or with some cornrows or something like that. It was usually more traditional, a little bit more conservative, and I didn't feel like it represented them as much. And so they really inspired me, especially my entire children's line is dedicated to them. And the adult line was really dedicated to myself and me learning how to love myself and to appreciate the things that made me as a person. So I would totally say my nieces and nephews, myself, and then just my family. Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot about culture in your answer, as well as like self-affirmation or self-love or self-esteem. So talk to me about what that means to you when you hear that culture, self-esteem, affirmation. What comes to your mind when you hear those words?
I think that it's important to know, understand, celebrate your culture. And to know it through and through, not just based off of what others tell you, but through your own research. And that can be researching your own lineage, talking to your own family members. So I feel like that is important because it helps you to have a sense of self. It helps you to feel more comfortable when you are in other groups, in mixed groups. And so, as a person who's always been in very diverse situations, I've always felt like that was important.
No, I love that. And the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, I have Alicia with us today, more so because of the influence and impact of who she is as an educator. A lot about the Harlem Renaissance I learned as a result of us. We were actually pursuing a grant together, and the Harlem Renaissance became the focal point of what we were seeking to accomplish. And it allowed me to study and learn more about it. So when I hear you saying the things that you're saying about culture and the importance of knowing self, I feel like I've learned a lot too. And then I had the privilege of being able to share that information with other youth outside of the school community. And I've also done it with my students. I have one more question for you before we take our break.
Okay.
Representation matters. If you could quickly just share with me what that means to you when you hear that.
It's important to see yourself. It's important to see someone who looks like you, talks like you, because it helps you to believe in yourself. It helps you to believe in your abilities. Sometimes it's hard to conceptualize something if you can't even visualize yourself in it. And so I definitely feel that with young people, it is very important. When I'm teaching them about an artist, I find artists from different cultures and not just the traditional masters, because as an art student myself, I didn't relate to them. So I'm like, I'm not really interested. But when I started seeing, oh, okay, this person looks like me, this person sounds like me, oh, they have tattoos, ooh, it made me feel more comfortable within myself and within my craft. So representation, that is key.
I love that. Representation matters, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Alicia, for what you have shared so far.
Yes.
On the other side of our break, we're going to learn a little bit more about her. The biggest thing I want you to take away from what we have discussed so far is how important it is to know self. Alicia mentioned something important, that someone believed in her that eventually allowed her to get to where she is today. But that also reinforces why it's important to believe. Eventually, someone believing in you has to move you to believe in yourself. Everything that exists in Alicia's life and my life, I tell my children all the time, it's because I believed. And so we have to get to a point where our belief is moving us and motivating us to take action. So on the other side of the break, we're going to learn more about how belief has played a role in Alicia's life. Thank you, Alicia, again.
Yes.
Sit back and relax, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that seatbelt on. We're going to continue to move forward. This is Believe.
Hello, my name is Tania McQueen. I'm the Residential Services Manager for Prestige Community Resources.
What our new facilities are respite centers. We're opening 2 in the city right now. Hopefully we'll expand to more. But respite centers are a place where people can come and get a little additional support with their mental health. Our one on Eastern Avenue is for men, and our one on Minnesota Avenue is for women. Our facilities are for all DC residents, especially focusing in on those in Ward 7 and 8. So they're really nice, and I'm excited for consumers to actually see them. What are the services that we're going to provide? Therapy, case management, medication management, all provided by professional staff, a licensed nurse practitioner, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, and then our paraprofessionals, our case managers. It's just a place where you can come and get the supports that you need to work on your personal goals, as well as to get your mental health straight. Simple, single adult, 18 years of age or older, a DC resident. You need to have insurance, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Still come, we'll work on getting you insurance. Have to have a negative COVID test, a negative TB test, and be willing to work on your mental health. For more information about respite services, you can contact us at 202-796-5000 or hit us up on our website at www.prestigecommunityresources.org.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome back. We appreciate you joining us, those who are here live and those who will be joining us on the playback. And I just want to repeat something that I heard earlier, Alicia, talking about belief as a necessity.
Yes.
And I want to reiterate to everyone, especially those of the Christian faith, to me, belief in self is not an antithesis to belief in God. I believe they're congruent. I don't believe you can accomplish even what God desires if you don't believe in yourself. Because God is requiring us to do things that are beyond our ability. So if we don't believe we're capable of doing anything, we definitely won't believe we're capable of doing what God requires. So I do believe belief is a necessity. Belief is what I believe fuels motivation to act. The moment I believe is when I begin acting and doing things that support what it is that I believe. With that being said, Alicia, where do you see currently belief challenging you or pushing you as it relates to being an artist and entrepreneur?
It's pushing me big time right now. I am currently going through a shift in life, in my artistry, in my career, and I do not see the end of the tunnel. And so I have to believe. I have to believe that, you know what, just put one foot in front of the other. Just keep taking the baby steps. So right now I feel like I'm being really pushed and challenged. And I'm not going to lie, like this morning I was sitting down because we were on spring break. I was like, let me write out a list of my life, what can I get accomplished right now? And it became overwhelming just to look at it. And then I just had to take a moment and just sit in silence and just kind of marinate on everything that I just saw and just remove any negativity that was trying to infiltrate my brain. And I'm like, no. Things work out. Your history of life has shown that even when the ground is shaky, it always works out, no matter what. And sometimes it works out in ways that you cannot fathom or can't even visualize because you're just having your human experience. So I had to remind myself of that today, and I just said, just do it. Whatever it is, just do it. So now in my artistic process, I am venturing into a new field, which is kind of like a comic illustration. That is something very, very new for me, very out of the box. And even though I'm terrified, I'm even more excited just at the thought of, man, when I get over that learning curve, when I get through that hump, ooh, it's going to be amazing. And so it's that belief that I know that I'm going to get through the rocky patch. That belief lets me know, it just keeps me pushing, and it's just like, you're going to get through it. So it's nothing to it but to do it. And that's really what belief is doing for me right now.
I love that. And Alicia will tell you, I've been pushing her, trying to get her to illustrate a children's book like since I met her. We're 4 years into this relationship of knowing each other. I cannot tell you how many times, girl, you should be drawing, and I know what it's like for people to be, you should be. I know what that's like.
Right.
But I'm doing it with her, even though I know what that feels like. But I'm excited to hear that.
Thank you.
So my next question is like slips my mind actually, but it just came back to me. Okay. So I want you to finish this sentence for me.
Okay.
Success for me as an artist and entrepreneur beyond today looks like
freedom. Free to create the schedule that I want. Free to be able to have family time. Free to, you know what? I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to get me some coffee. So when I say freedom, I'm talking about those little things that sometimes we lose when we are in positions that we don't really like, when we're at jobs that are stressing us out. So the freedom to have a moment to reflect. That's what success looks like for me. When it comes to materialistic things, I know that I'm going to make some money. I do have that hustle mentality. I know I'm going to make some money. I don't have this need to be filthy rich. I just want to be comfortable. I want to be able to say, you know what, I want to go for a jog right now, because I don't think people understand that's a luxury. I've worked plenty of jobs where you get home, you're not in the mood to cook, you're not in the mood to go for a jog, or you got to work and now you can't go to your niece or nephew's event. And I didn't feel free. I felt like I was locked down to this paycheck and to these materialistic things that I wanted. And so right now my goal is to have the freedom of time, space, reflection. That's what success looks like for me.
No, I love that. Because a recent question or recent thought that I had was faith, time, and ability are 3 gifts given to us. What are we doing with it? And our life is the culmination of using those gifts. So I want to go in a different direction now.
Okay.
When someone comes to you, someone's listening, an artist or an entrepreneur, someone who, even though they're a Christian, they're thinking about going outside of the norm of their routine. They want to start a business. They want to write a book. What would you say to someone? What is an important, essential element to being successful as an artist, as an entrepreneur? What is a necessity, like belief, to being an artist or an entrepreneur?
Okay, so I have a quote. Discipline is the highest form of self-love.
I like that.
It doesn't matter what you are interested in. It doesn't matter. Let's say you want to be the next bodybuilder, whatever. discipline is what's important. Talent is great, but there's a ton of really talented people. It's discipline that makes the difference. On a personal level, I struggle with discipline. I'm really like, I just want to do whatever I want, and I've seen how that has slowed me down. And so I actually made a print a couple of months ago, and that was the print. It was discipline is the highest form of self-love. At anything that you want to do, you want to be the next great chef, you want to be an entrepreneur, anything, you have to be disciplined, and you just have to keep pushing forward. I really feel like that's the biggest thing. When it comes to the other things, most people are nervous to step out there because it's like, do I just leave my job? Do I just jump right into it? Plan it out. Make a list. I make 20 lists a day. Make a list. Really look at what's important. Break those lists down into something small and tangible so that if, let's say you do have a trip and you fall a little bit, because that's just normal. That's a part of the ebb and flow of life. You don't want to get discouraged. So I really say make a list and stick to it. Be disciplined. And I think the other thing, be fluid.
I love that word.
We have this vision that you are limited because you are just a mere human here. There are bigger things in store for you. No matter, like I said, it doesn't matter what you believe in, God, the universe, whatever. There's something way bigger here than you can even understand. And my mom said to me one time, I want you to go beyond your dreams. And when she said that, I was like, what? But then I had to really marinate on it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, because my dreams are so limited. I can only see this far. But there's it's so much more for me to discover. So, yeah, I think I've listed a lot. I can't even recap it all, but that's what I feel. Definitely discipline.
Discipline, fluidity. I love it because when you said discipline, I thought of focus and time management, which you mentioned. And you also mentioned goal setting, like listing the goals. I had a question I wanted to leave at the beginning as it related to the word fulfillment. And the question was, is fulfillment a place I arrive at? Something I just wait for it to happen with no energy on my part? Or is fulfillment the outcome of things done? And that was a question I wanted to pose to the audience. So when you hear that question, is fulfillment a place I arrive at? Is it something that just manifests without me doing anything? Or is it the outcome of something done where I actually have to do something?
Can I be honest?
Go ahead.
My first art show, when I was in undergrad, I won 3 awards. And I thought that I would feel so fulfilled, and I didn't. I struggle with fulfillment on a personal level.
Okay.
And it's because I always feel like, okay, I did that, what's next? I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, I do feel like you do arrive at it. But every time I felt like that I would arrive at feeling fulfilled, my brain is ready for the next thing.
Okay.
It's like I'm chasing this feeling. And I'm not going to lie, it took me a while to kind of come to terms with that because I was always looking for this, I guess, burst of energy or satisfaction. And I feel good about things, but to say fulfilled, I'm like, no, I'm not there yet. I'm always going to the next thing. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It keeps me moving. But I remember that first art show, everyone was like, why are you so sad? And I was like, I thought I would feel something different, even though it was my first time winning all of these awards. But so, yeah.
Let me just summarize, because I love what you shared. As we move to a close of today's segment, 30 minutes. Boy, I tell you, it goes by so fast. Fulfillment, ladies and gentlemen, if you're waiting for it, you're going to be disappointed more often and less feeling unfulfilled. And so you don't want to let fulfillment be something that you arrive at. Okay? So in closing, also don't let fulfillment be something that you feel like you're waiting for without you doing anything, because you also will be more disappointed more often in life. try to identify things that you're seeking to accomplish, and as was mentioned, identifying tasks to get you there, and you will find yourself more fulfilled more often with life. This is Believe, ladies and gentlemen, where we look to inspire, influence, impact. Thank you, Alicia, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciated you being here. And join us fourth Sunday at 6 o'clock. Take care. God bless.
Peace out.